welcome back to my channel. It's Trisha at the Inky Planner. I am just about to start planning out my month on 2 days, or 2 pages, excuse me, for the month of April. And I have my pages here, and I thought it might be interesting to have you join me for this process. And I'm going to try to do it either in fast forward or just sort of skipping ahead in sections so that it doesn't take way too long and so that you're not totally bored by the end of this video. So hopefully that style will work for you. These pages are the inserts from the Carpe Diem A5 planner from Simple Stories. Beautiful colors on the, the outside pages of these month spreads. And then the inside is just sort of a nice, clean, blank canvas for me to work with, and all I have done so far is put washi across the top. I've seen this washi on a lot of pages out there. I'm sure you guys have seen it as well or used it yourself, but this came from Michael's, and it actually, the colors in it really pulled a lot of these same colors, sort of like a pool blue and a tomatoey red and a pink and a curry, and I just loved that it matched this palette. So I ran it across the top, and I pulled some other washies from my stash that I thought might pull some of those colors out as well. And that's all I've got so far. The only other thing I've done is I went through my calendar and I took note of the days that I have sort of significant events. And I put a little X on those days because I had an idea that I might like color those in solid with color. And if they all fell, on a line, it would look silly to have like a whole block of colored boxes and then all these white ones. So I wanted to make sure that they were somewhat evenly spread out around the 2 pages. Okay, so I'm ready to kind of color my first box. I'm going to show you how I do one of these, and then I'll go ahead and skip ahead and do the rest of them and let you know what colors I used. So I'm planning to do this crushed curry, because it picks up on this yellow up here. This is from Stampin' Up. I've done ink blending in other videos before, so it's the same process, except in this one I'm going to use a smaller little finger blender instead of the other round blending tool, just because it's a little smaller area. So I'm just going to dab it on there, and I'm actually going to just use a little scratch paper to prime that and make sure I've got ink all over the dauber really good. And then I'll go ahead and put it on my project. And I'm looking for just a medium application of color. I don't need it to be really dark. I want to be able to, put the date on top of it. And I just sort of want this nice, pretty golden yellow. There. Really simple. And then when I peel, and I had masking tape on there. You guys have seen this process before if you've seen my other videos. So I'm just going to peel my masking tape off the 4 edges. And then I have a nice colored date for my first significant event of the month. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that for my other events. Just get those boxes colored, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so I'm back after adding a little bit of color to the pertinent squares on my week here. One little tip: if you use a pencil to indicate an area that you want to add ink to, make sure you erase the pencil before you add the ink. Ask me how I know. I made a mistake. So I'm just peeling the last little bit of masking tape, and all I did was just go from square to square and mask off the areas I wanted, and I just randomly chose colors that I thought complemented my washi up at the top. So the colors I've used are Down here is Fired Brick from Tim Holtz Distress line. And then up here I used Regal Rose from Stampin' Up, but it was a little too bright, so I put a little Fired Brick over the top of it. And then the blues are Baja Breeze, which I thought picked up really nicely on the background. Old Olive from Stampin' Up for the greens, and then Crushed Curry for the yellows. So that's where I am so far. I'm thinking my next step is going to be adding the dates. And I have this little set. I am pretty sure, gosh, I've got to look up where this came from. It came in one of my kits, and I can't remember if it's a Scraptastic kit or a Studio Calico kit, and I'm sorry, but I will find out, and I will try to make note of it in the description or add a little header here. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp these throughout the month so that the dates are indicated, and then I'll be back when that's done. Okay, I've just finished stamping out my dates, and I did that in Smoky Slate Stampin' Up! Ink using these little numbers. And it's a little bit of a tedious process because you have to go through, but you get into a rhythm and it gets going pretty fast. So the next thing I wanted to do is to put the title. These pages come with the pre-printed titles, but I just covered it right up with the washi. And I actually pulled some alphabet stamps, and these are from Studio Calico, or excuse me, stickers from Studio Calico. And let me see if I have that packet. I do. They're sort of falling out of their pack, but it's sort of this like nude color, like a tan color. It's not as bright as the yellow, but I thought it sort of picked up on that yellow there. So I'm going to put that there. But when I put it there, I felt like it got a little lost with the washi behind it. So I'm going to put a label behind it to help it stand out. And this label I stamped myself using this Scraptastic Club label set designed by Caitlin Schaefer. I love this set. And I just stamped it on some sticker paper, and I'm going to end up putting this here and putting this over it. This is a trick I've seen some other people do, scrapbookers and Project Life people, and I can't think of who right now, but it's certainly not my idea, but to take a little piece of wax paper and to line up your letters, and then you can kind of get an idea of how you're going to like your title, and you can get an idea of your spacing, and it's a great little trick, and then it peels right off of there without losing the stick. So I think I'll go ahead and put the title on. Well, looks pretty straight, not terrible. Okay, so there's my title, and I just keep and reuse that little wax paper scrap. Now, the month starts over here on Friday, so I'm going to have to figure something out for all of these boxes that are empty, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet, so I'll probably come back to that. So I think now what I'm going to do is start putting in the events, and for that I am going to use some of these from these stamps from Studio L2E. This was from their March release. This is Iconic Borders Geometric. And they sort of have the little box to write in the details of your event, but then they have a separate spot to put an icon or an initial or something like that. So I will probably be using some of these. And my thought was I'm going to stamp these on some sticker paper and then lay them over the top of my boxes so that they stand out from these bright colors that I've put. So we'll see how that looks. I'm going to go ahead and stamp a bunch of these out on the sticker paper, and then I'll come back to you. And what I love about this particular one is that the hexagon alphabet or hexagon number stamps just fit so perfectly and beautifully right inside that little icon. So, you know, Kanani is so smart how she designed these, because then you can, for me, what I've chosen to do is put the initial of the person who it's relevant to right in that little box. So I'll show you what I've done here. Like I've got my son is Andrew, so he's got his A there for the first day of lacrosse. This is my daughter's birthday party. So I jot down the details in the box, but then K for Catherine up there. And then her talent show is on the 8th, which we're all really excited about. She's been working really hard. I have jury duty all day on the 4th, so that's a big one for me to remember. And then our mother-son dance at school for Andrew is on the 22nd. So that's how I kind of have those laid out for right now. And then I do have events going on the other days, but I'm feeling like I don't know if I want all the same. These 3, I might end up doing a little something different to indicate the events. And then a lot of things, I just started this process. Sorry, I knocked a block over. But I just started this process. Some smaller events, I'm just writing in my little black friction pen. They don't need to be, you know, super visible. I don't need my eye really drawn to them. They're smaller events that are just reminders. You know, a cousin's birthday, that'll remind me to send a card, shoot him a text that day. Where my daughter is going for the day, which is an unusual thing. She's going to a different babysitter this Monday than usual since I'm at jury duty. So things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I want to do to indicate the events on these couple days. And then I'm going to keep writing in all of my little secondary events throughout the rest of the month. Okay, I have a couple more birthdays at the end of the month, and I did put a little icon for my birthday up here, so I'm going to do the same. This is that Baja Breeze color that I used there. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate, and I'm using the tiny little balloon. This comes from Iconic Activities from Studio L2E, and it has just a tiny little icon for, you know, lots of different things that you can think of, and they fit inside all of these. So if you didn't want to use initials here, you could put a little icon inside these as well. So I love that they all coordinate. But I have birthdays on the 28th and the 29th. So I'm just going to put the little balloon there to indicate that we have birthdays. And then my daughter's birthday is on the 10th, and I might do something bigger deal for her. So I haven't put a balloon there for her. That's her actual birthday and the day of her party. So I don't know, I might put a little balloon sticker or something more weighty over there. Okay, I've gone ahead and stuck down all my stickers, except for this one, because I may put something behind it. And I stamped one more from the Iconic Borders Geometric set. This time I used the circle and I wanted it off to this side because I just remembered, I didn't have it in my calendar, but our brother and sister-in-law are moving on the 9th, and I'm sure that we will pop over there and try to help them in any way that we can. So I found this little truck. It looked to me like a moving van from Iconic Activities, and I put it in here, and I'm just kind of keeping that one white on white. I don't want to have a block of color behind it, but I'm just going to let that poke its way into the 9th there, I think, since I have a very crowded day on the 9th. And then the next thing I'm going to do is the 14th, the kids have off of school, which is why this is a blocked out day. And the reason they have it off of school is because of conferences. So I am going to go ahead and use, there is a conference stamp from the Back to School set from Studio L2E. I'm going to go ahead and use that, as well as the No School stamp. And I think I'm going to put No School like all over the whole thing, and then I'm going to put Conference on a sticker and put it in the middle, so that we know we have an event, but then the whole day is like marked as a No School day. So I can either fast forward or skip ahead through that part while I work on this box. Okay, I'm peeling off the last of my masking tape. I just masked around the edges of that box and then stamped repeatedly and randomly over the whole thing. And I just went ahead and covered right up that 14, the date there. Obviously, it'll be very easy to deduce what date that is by looking at the neighboring dates. So now I just sort of have a little bit more texture in that box, which I like. And I will add the event on top of it using the conference stamp. Okay, I went ahead and stuck this down, And then I stamped a much simpler box, and this one I just got from the Studio L2E Highlight It set. Just this plain rectangle. I just wanted that one to be a little bit simpler. And I had the word conference, and then I also noticed there was a little A+, like report card thing down here at the bottom of that same back to school set. So I put that on there. I'm usually keeping the stamped ink the same as the blended ink in the background. So, you know, the yellow on yellow and the teal on teal. So I followed that same pattern. So this will go here because we have conferences that night. And this is a sticker as well. So we'll go ahead and stick that one down. So the last couple things we have are, I want to dress up my daughter's birthday. I have an event this night, which is like an overnight black tie function for my husband and me. And then on the 20th, we have the kids' spring concert. So again, I'm going to go to the drawing board here and come up with some creative ideas for those, and then I will come back. So again, I'm just trying to keep some of the downtime out of the video for you. I sure hope this pieces together nicely for you at the end, but I will go look through my stuff and see what jumps out at me. Okay, I've decided I'm going to give my daughter some balloons over here for her birthday, and I found an appropriately sized balloon image in this set from Simon Says Stamp, which is Baby Party Animals. It had a cute little balloon, so I just stamped that onto sticker paper using that same slate gray ink, and then I'm going to show you how I colored these other two. I'm going to do this one last one, and I'm doing that with just a blender pen. This happens to be from Stampin' Up, but I know Dove makes these, and it's just like a little felt tip pen that has a solution in it. And then I am using my same ink pad, so I have the Crushed Curry ink, and if you give it a little squeeze, it'll deposit some ink on the inside of the lid there. So I'm just going to take a little dip of that ink to get the yellow on there, and I am going to color in the balloon. You kind of start in the darkest shadowy spot because it's going to lighten up as I get to the top. And then you can go back and get a little bit more ink as needed. And a little more for that bottom spot. And then you have some little balloons to cut out, and get the paper pills a tiny bit because this isn't meant to have so much wetness, but that's okay. So you just kind of wipe that off. So I'll cut those out, and I'll arrange those over there to make my daughter's birthday a little festive. And all you need to do to clean that off once you've used it is just scribble it off until there's no more ink. Okay, I've cut out the last of my balloons, and I think I'm going to make just a little grouping over here by her birthday, and then I'll just draw in the strings. So that looks cute. That's a little bit festive and makes some emphasis on the day of her birthday. Okay, I'm back and ready to do some finishing touches and wrap up this spread. So I found this ampersand, and this is from the Remember This stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's a Project Life oriented stamp set. I think I'm going to put that here using the Regal Rose ink. Just add another little bit of sort of that reddish pink. And then over the top of that, I am going to put this little set that says, or this little stamp that says Date Night. And this comes from one of my all-time faves from Studio L2E, which is the Planet set. So I'm going to use that Date Night to indicate the black tie event that my husband and I have. So I've stamped those two things, and I'm going to just jot down my event. And then finally on the 20th, I have a tiny little music note stamp, also from Iconic Activities right here. And I'm going to put a handful of these here to indicate my kids' spring concert. Okay, so I put the stamps in and just jotted down that this is the spring concert date. And I think that covers it for my events. Just gonna do a little bit more decorating to finish things off, and then I'm gonna call it good. I stamped, also from that Scraptastic label set, I'm going to, I stamped a label in yellow on sticker paper. I think I'm gonna just put it up here in this section and trim it off. If I can find my scissors. Wondering if my kids stole my scissors. They sometimes do. And I am probably going to stamp or write just 2016 in there. Even though it's obvious, it adds just a nice balance. And then I'm going to put a little washi across here. Back at the beginning of the video, I was thinking about how I'm going to fill in all these dates before the 1st. So I think I'm just going to go across here with a bit of washi and add just a little bit of interest there. I have my favorite polka dot washi, and then this one has a similar effect. It's just clear with the black accents, but it's triangles, which I also love, and I think is appropriate, especially when you're sort of pointing towards the first day of the month. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do that without ripping my paper. And I've got nothing down the center on my pages. I think I'm going to leave like these holes just blank. Sometimes I put washi down the middle, but okay, I like that. And I may put a tiny bit of the gold washi right along the top of that as well. Let me see how that looks. This is just a super skinny gold pinstripe. I like it under. Might like it under better. Line my papers up and get it under there. Let's see if I like that. Yeah, I do. So we'll trim those edges as well. Oops, pulling it right off the page. Don't do that. And keep that stuck down and do this last box. Okay, so that's a little bit, a few decorative elements across the top. I'm trying to decide if I want anything over here, and I might put a little bit of this yellow, and that's also a stripe. Put a little bit of this washi over here, just to add a little color down this side. Yeah, that's pretty. I might cut that one at an angle though. So I'm just going to lift it and give it a little trim. And I don't want to overdo it, but I wonder if that polka dot, or excuse me, my triangle washi would look good over here too, or would that be too much? Let's see. No, I like it, I think. Alright, so the last thing for me to do is to put in the year up there. And the question is, I think I might hand write it just to add a little loose element there. So just using my Pentel Feud pen. This is like a brush lettering pen, so you can make nice thick and thin strokes, and I'm not great at this, but I'm going to go for it and put my 2016, and of course my letters aren't even lined up, but that's okay. That'll do. It adds a little pop of black up there, and I'm gonna call it done. All right, colorful, pretty, springy spread, and my month of April is all planned out. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was interesting, and I hope I'm able to keep this down to a reasonable amount of time so it's not totally boring and running on and on. But I always appreciate it when people view and like and comment on these videos. It helps me feel like someone out there is getting some inspiration from them and enjoying even just the viewing process of it. So so please subscribe or like if you're happy about what you're seeing here, and I hope to be back with another video again very soon. Thank you all and have a terrific day.